students and scholars, teachers and trainers, professors and professionals, listeners and learners. The most honorable President Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, respected ministers and doctors, administrators, reverend fathers and mothers, affectionate sons and daughters. I, Dr. Rakesh from USA, heartily cordially welcome all of you. It is really nice time, nice place, nice section. You are listening the truth of science to spirituality, from language to literature. Dear friends, it is really nice time. Day before yesterday, we have celebrated the birthday of our President Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Dear friends, every day has its own importance. In the history of our Indian personalities, those who came, those who born with their highest goal in life. Our old parents, old people that we have in our family, they are the most respectable bank of our spiritual and social values. For maintaining the Indian values not only at the personal level, but these values extended up to international level. Our scholars, learners, those who are studying in India and abroad, we must learn and we must keep in our mind, at the rate of modern and western productions, we should not sacrifice our social, spiritual, moral, ethical values of our nation, by which our nation is known. Dear friends, our nation is known as one of the greatest nations which has unity in diversity. So from that point of view, you are listening a baker from Goa. This is a pen portrait of a traditional gone village baker who still has an important place in his society. Goa, which is one of the tourist places of India, you are listening a story. What happens? Our elders are often heard reminiscences nostalgically about those good Portuguese days. In India, Portuguese came in Goa for spreading out their business during industrialization. After 1600, when East India Company came in India, in Delhi, it was a crucial time to know the European culture. How have they spread out their business and occupied different colonies in the world? The Portuguese and their famous loaves of bread, those eaters of loaves might have vanished, but the makers are still there. We still have amongst us the mixtures, the molders, and those who bake the loaves. Dear friends, this is the technology that they provided to our nation. Manner, style, standard ways. Many things we have learned from the mirror of the outsiders. But our original culture, basic culture, which has its own value, we should not damage it, we should not spoil it at any rate. Those is old, time tested furnaces still exist. The fire in the furnaces has not yet been extinguished. The mud and jingle of the traditional bakers, bamboo, heralding his arrival in the morning, can still be heard in some pieces, in some places. Maybe the father is not alive, but the son still carries on the family profession. These bakers are even today known as coder in Goa. Dear friends, actually these words and thoughts are helpful in understanding the glimpses of our past glimpses of India. During our childhood in Goa, the baker used to be our friend, companion and guide. He used to come at least twice a day. Once when he set out in the morning on his selling round, and then again when he returned after emptying his huge basket. The jingling thud of his bamboo woke us up from sleep, and we ran to meet and greet him. Why was it so? Was it for the love of the love? Not at all. Not at all. The loaves were bought by some Pascaine or Vestine, the maid servant of the house. What we longed for were those bread bangles which we chose carefully. Sometimes it was sweet bread of special make. The baker made his musical entry on the scene with the jung sound of its specially made bamboo. made bamboo staff. One hand supported the basket on his head and the other banged the bamboo on the ground. He would greet the lady of the house with good morning and then place his basket on the vertical bamboo. We kids would be pushed aside with a mild rebuke, and the loaves would be delivered to the servant, but we would not give up. We would climb a bench or the parapet and peep into the basket somehow. I can still recall the typical fragrance of those loaves. Loaves for the elders said, the bangles for the children. Then we did not even care to brush our teeth or wash our mouths properly. And why should we, who would take the trouble of plucking the mango leaf for the toothbrush? And why was it necessary at all? The tiger never brushed his teeth. Hot tea could wash and clean up everything so nicely after all. Marriage gifts are meaningless without the sweet bread known as the bowl, just as a party or a feast loses its charm without bread. Not enough can be said to show how important a baker can be for a village. The lady of the house must prepare sandwiches on the occasion of her daughter's engagement. Cakes and bowlings. Cakes and bowlinghas are a must for Christmas as well as other festivals. Thus, the presence of the baker's furnace in the village is absolutely essential. The baker or bread seller of those days had a peculiar dress known as the kabai. It was a single piece, long frock reaching down to the knees. In our childhood, we saw bakers wearing a shirt and trousers which were shorter than full-length ones and longer than half pants. Even today, anyone who wears a half pant which reaches just below the knees invites the comment that he is dressed like a pedder. The baker usually collected his bills at the end of the month. Monthly accounts used to be recorded on some wall in pencil. Baking was indeed a profitable profession in the old days. The baker and his family never stopped. He and his family and his servants always looked happy and prosperous. Their plump physique was an open testimony to this. Even today, any person with a jackfruit-like physical appearance is easily compared to a baker. Dear friends, this is all about the Goa you have heard. Next is cook. What is Coop? Coop is coffee country famous for its rainforest and spices. Midday between Mysore and the coastal town of Mangalore sits a piece of heaven that must have drifted from the kingdom of God. This land of rolling hills is inhabited by a proud race of martial men, beautiful women, and wild creatures. Coog or Kodagu, Coog or Kodag, a smallest district of Karnataka, is home to evergreen rainforest, spices and coffee plantations. Evergreen rainforest covers 30% of this district. During the monsoons, it pours enough to keep many visitors away. The season of joy commences from September and continues till March. The weather is perfect, with some showers sown in for good measure. The air breathes of invigorating coffee, coffee estates and colonial bungalows stand tucked under tree canopies in prime corners. The fiercely independent people of Cook are possibly of Greek or Arabic descent. As one story goes, a part of Alexander's army moved south along the coast and settled here when return became impractical. These people married amongst the locals and their culture is apparent in the martial traditions, marriage and religious rites, which are distinct from the Hindu mainstream. The theory of Arab origin draws support from the long black coat with an embroidered waist belt worn by the Kaudavas, known as kupia. It resembles the kufia worn by the Arabs and the Kurds. Arabs and Kurds. Kurdi homes have a tradition of hospitality, and they are more than willing to recount numerous tales of valor related to their sons and fathers. The Cook regiment is one of the most decorated in the Indian Army, and the first chief of the Indian Army, General Cariappa, was a Kurdi. Even how Kodwas are the only people in India permitted to carry firearms without a license. The river Kaveri obtained its water from the hills and forests of Cook. Mahashi, a large freshwater fish, abound in these waters. Kingfishers dive for their catch, while squirrels and langurs drove partially eaten fruit for the mischief of enjoying the splash and the ripple effect in the clear water. Elephants enjoy being bathed and scrubbed in the river by their mahouts. the most laid back individuals become of high energy adventure with river rafting, canoeing, rappelling, rock climbing, and mountain biking, numerous trails in this region are a favorite with trekkers. Birds, bees, and butterflies are there to give you company. Macaques, Malabar squirrels, langurs, and slender lords keep a watchful eye from the free canopy. I do, however, prefer to step aside for wild elephants. The climb to the Brahmagiri hills brings you into panoramic view of the entire misty landscape of Cook. A walk across the rope bridge leads to the 64-acre island of Nisargadham, running into Buddhist monks from India's largest Tibetan settlement at nearby Bailaku is a bonds. The monks in red, ochre and yellow robes are amongst the many surprises that wait to be discovered by visitors searching for the heart and soul of India right here in Kurg. Dear friends, what is the natural values of our natural beauties are really remarkable, outstanding and amazing. When any person from north to south, east to west tries to visit such places which are full of natural varieties, definitely everyone, whether he has any irremediable disease, he can be cured, healed and recovered just by visiting, wishing, and by knowing the values of our traditions will improve. Tea from Assam. How tea came in India and what is the history behind it? How our Indians started taking tea. Pranjal, a youngster from Assam, is Rajveer's classmate at school in Delhi. Pranjal's father is the manager of a tea garden in Upper Assam, and Pranjal had treated Rajveer to visit his home during the summer vacation. Chai, garam, garam, chai, a vendor called out in a high-pitched voice. He came up to their window and asked, Chai, sahab. Give us 2 cups, Pranjal said. They sipped the steaming hot liquid. Almost everyone in their compartment was drinking tea too. Do you know that? Over 80 crore cups of tea are drunk every day throughout the world, Rajveer said. Oh, exclaimed Pranjal, tea really is very popular. The train pulled out of the station. Pranjal buried his nose in his detective book again. Rajveer too was an ardent fan of detective stories, but at the moment he was keen around looking at the beautiful scenery. It was green, green everywhere. Rajveer had never seen so much greenery before. Then the soft green paddy fields gave way to tea bushes. It was a magnificent view against the backdrop of densely wooded hills. A sea of tea bushes stretched as far as the eye could see, dwarfing the tiny, dwarfing the teeny tea. Plants were still sturdy shade trees amidst the orderly rows of bushes, busily moved doll-like figures. In the distance was an ugly building with smoke billowing out of tall chimneys. Hey, a tea garden, Rajveer cried excitedly. Pranjul, who had been born and brought up in a plantation, didn't share Rajveer's excitement. Oh, this is tea country now, he said. Assam has the largest concentration of plantations in the world. You will see enough gardens to last you a lifetime. I have been reading as much as I could about tea, Rajveer said. No one really knows who discovered tea, but there are many legends. What legends? What legends? Well, there is the one about the Chinese emperor who always boiled water before drinking it. One day, a few leaves of the twigs burning under the pot fell into the water, giving it a delicious flavor. It is said they were two leaves. It is said they were tea leaves. Tell me another, scoffed Pranjul. We have an Indian legend too. Bodhidharma, an ancient Buddhist ascetic, cut off his eyelids because he felt sleepy during meditations. 10 tea plants grew out of the eyelids. The leaves of these plants, when put in hot water and drunk, banished sleep. Tea was first drunk in China, Rajveer added, as far back as 2700 BC. In fact, words such as tea, chai and chini are from Chinese. Tea came to Europe only in the 16th century and was drunk more as medicine than as beverage. The train clattered into Mariani Junction. The boys collected their luggage and pushed their way to the crowded platform. Pranjol's parents were waiting for them. Soon they were driving towards Dhakiaberry, the tea garden managed by Pranjol's father. An hour later, the car veered sharply off the main road. They crossed the cattle bridge and entered Dhakiaberry Tea Estate. On both sides of the gravel road were acre upon acre of tea bushes, all neatly hewn to the same height. Groups of tea pluckers with bamboo baskets on their backs, wearing plastic aprons, were plucking the newly sprouted leaves. Pranjol, Pranjol's father slowed down to the slowed down to allow a tractor pulling a trailer load of tea leaves to pass. This is the second flush or sprouting period, isn't it? Mr. Bariwa Rajveer said. It lasts from many it lasts from May to July and yields the best tea. You seem to have done your homework before coming, Pranjol's father said in surprise. Yes, Mr. Barua Rajveer admitted, but I hope to learn much more while I am here. Dear friends, as you are listening, the truth of our traditions, how the tea taking has become our habit, how our Indians have become the true followers of Western and that modern culture which is beyond to reach today for us. We cannot avoid our past on the rate of modernity and Western culture. Our Indian culture is the supreme sublime because everyone loves his country, everyone loves his country culture. All the foreigners and outsiders of the different nations, they love their nation, they love their culture, they love their food, shelter and clothing of their nation. Likely that it should be our India. With all Indians, that they should think, they should prefer their motherland. And this holy motherland which has provided the ways to everyone how to live, how to take, how to eat, how to like, how to share, how to subscribe, how to prescribe, everything we can learn from our Indian culture. All the foreigners being an inventor and innovator of the different skills. They have departed from Indian land and they must remember, recollect their childhood, their past. How have and how they were made able to understand the modern technology at the rate of Indian sacrifices. Our all freedom fighters, free thinkers, foreteller, forecasters, scientists, researchers, artists, those who came in India in the different fields, agriculture, industry, means of transportation, means of communication. We see today them in the form of the great visionary and revolutionary personalities. Today's rulers of our nation, those who claim from bottom to top, root to fruit, they have the great potential and talent to maintain our spiritual values at the world level. Dear friends, we know that We are made by the tests and the trials. The exam that our Indian land has passed, it has a great expectations and hope against hope from our youngsters. The holy literature of this holy land, which was created by the holy personalities. We must try to bring their dreams to be true on this earth by our mental, physical, economical, political efforts. But before that, the great requirement is to be obtained by changing our ideologies and thoughts. These are our ideas that provides the first step, first stair for leading the path of happiness and pleasure. Today, in this modern world, today in this present time, it should be our aim to be the staunch believer, ardent follower of the imagination for recreation, reformation, regeneration of our nation, while having the presence of our social reformists. Imaginatively, we can bring a great role to make historical and remarkable changes in the history of our modern technology as well. We are to love with nature, we are to come close, we are to be friendly and familiar with nature, to be spontaneous and natural talented personality. This is the way through which our nation can be stronger, higher, nicer, finer. For the upliftment of our society and nation, we must try to protect our national heritage, our forests, animals, plants, trees, that are equally important. As per the announcement of our President Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, ecology and economy both are running parallel with a great importance in India. And India has become the 5th largest economy in the world. This is the dream of our nation as well our nation rulers. So dear friends, brothers, sisters, those who are listening, really it is the wonderful time. God who has provided us, Lord who is giving us the presence of His remarkable existence, because His presence is never extinct from us. He is multi-dimensional, multi-sided, multifaceted. He who lives everywhere, He who was, He who will, in past, present, future the same. He is the omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent and almighty Lord. With every moment of life, with every heartbeat of the heart, with every idea of the mind, we are feeling proud to be a great nationalistic and patriotistic person of this nation. Dear friends, may God bless all of us. Nice to see you, nice to watch all of you. Welcome, thank you.